for people who are looking to purchase or acquire something that they can start using, like what is that? What does that look like for them, and pricing points, things like that, if you're able to talk about that. Just so that way people, again, can kind of look at this more from a realistic standpoint of, oh yeah, wow, okay, that is something that I could look into and start thinking of next steps.
Yeah, absolutely. For those folks that are interested in more of the professional level, we have a plugin. It's the plugin that we use when we're on set for production for Warner Brothers or Disney or whatever the case may be. It's called ARFX Pro Plugin for Unreal Engine, and you'll need to have some understanding of Unreal Engine, Unreal Editor, but not much. That starts at $5.99 to get started with that one. And then we have another product called ARFX Launcher. This one comes bundled with 10 maps. It's essentially the same technology, all the same options, everything like that. That one starts at $9.99. It's the 10 most commonly requested maps that we have gotten in the past 7 years. So that's like residences, offices, jungle, desert, that type of stuff, as well as a few science fiction locations that we're known for in our demos. So definitely, if people are interested, they can go to our website. All of that is available right now. Everything the real value of these products is that you get us as a support team. We have documentation, videos, and we'll hop on the phone with you or video chat to get it working for you the first time. And always happy to do that because we're learning every time too, and we want to make sure that that the process continues of expanding the access to this technology.
Yeah, I think it's so important. I was just chatting with the producer this morning, actually, because I'm pricing out a motion capture studio and a few other things at the moment for upcoming Amazon show, and that's something that I was pointing out, was that I care less about the product and the price as I do about access to the people at the company, because again, it's, you know, you could go and spend a fortune or save a bit of money on something, but when there's zero support or someone to turn to when you're trying to get something working, it you know, the time wasted there becomes detrimental. So yeah, having access to you guys, I think, is worth its weight in gold. So that's really amazing.
We're happy to be that resource. More than half of our team is product and support folks, and these are folks that aren't just familiar with the product and the entire tech stack. They can, you know, generally help you troubleshoot your GPU, all the way to, you know, these are folks that are on set on major studio projects. You know, today they were all on set on a major studio project and are hitting the real problems every day, and figuring out those quick troubleshooting methods, both to, you know, figure out, circumvent those issues and make sure that they don't occur. So that's the help that we can provide you. And again, this is something that we're happy to do as filmmakers ourselves.
So I was curious to, not to put you on the spot, let's just say as a hypothetical case study, if someone was more looking at a mid-level production where they're looking for, let's say, a 10-foot by 10-foot wall, just talking about more the bigger picture of the kind of gear they would need, whether it's tracking markers or other additional things outside of the typical tech stack of, I'm assuming, Unreal 5 and whatever else that might come with it, as well as the plugins. For a filmmaker who was looking to price a project, like what would they need typically is more kind of bare bones, but also just kind of loose ballpark figures, like what would they be looking at to get up and running with, as I mentioned before, let's say a 10-foot by 10-foot you know, background screen, something like that. Because I had Philip Geller and a lot of other guys on, and as well as Mel's studio over in Quebec, when you can go down a rabbit hole talking about LED screens and the cost of pricing them out, whether it's going to be $100,000 or $8 million. So, you know, if we don't lean too much into the pricing, I guess, like hardware and software, just kind of what that looks like is a full scope.
Okay, so there's a few different levels we can talk about. So if we're talking really, really, really bare bones, you're using a smartphone in front of your smart TV or your projector. And at that point, I would definitely recommend at minimum a 75-inch TV. I would also recommend looking into anti-reflectivity, a filter. That's a covering that you can get that reduces the glare that you're going to see on the screen. It gives you more flexibility in your light shaping. And then if you move to projector, then definitely controlling the ambient light spill is going to become critical to maintain true blacks and the contrast that you want to a projection-based system. Your smartphone can be the tracker in these instances, and you can at minimum use it to calibrate. We're coming out with our own mobile tracking solution really soon, as well as our own prosumer app that would be a perfect fit for this type of level. And if you're interested in doing something at this level, we do have a closed beta right now, which we're actually hoping to open up soon. So definitely, if something like what I just mentioned to you is attractive to you, doing this at home on a smart TV with your smartphone, no additional hardware required, that's something that's definitely we want to be discussing with you. So please reach out to us. Then going up from there, let's say that you are an educational institution and you want to provide something that's a place to get started, or you're, just looking to learn about this technology. At that point, we're probably looking at, like what you said, a 10 by 10 foot LED screen, and then looking at the high-end, one of the high-end GPUs to power that screen. Right now, the way that the GPU market is, that's the main decision that's going to drive the rest of the system, is what GPU do you decide to put in there. I would recommend getting a 2080 Ti or faster to do something in virtual production. That's just going to be a requirement as a baseline to do virtual production work. In our own machines, we install the Quadro A6000. And then it looks like we'll be bumping up to something like the 4080 for our prosumer kits. Right now we're at the 3080, which is perfectly reasonable for a prosumer level. So that's kind of the basics, and that gets you rendering the image. Now, when it comes to tracking a more professional screen, like a DSLR or something like that, we would definitely point you to the HTC Vive ecosystem, just because that's going to be the simplest way for you to get started. It's well supported, and that's what we ship standard in our prosumer systems, and we support that in our plugin and the ARFX launcher, both of the software that I mentioned before. That's kind of the standard at the indie and the prosumer level. Then bumping up from there, it starts to get more into, let's say, the 20 foot by 12 foot screen. That starts to become more viable for music videos, commercials. You can actually start pulling in studio work at that level, and then thinking about 30 foot wide, 40 feet wide as being adjustments or expansions that you make to those kind of smaller screens. Once you start talking about any type of screen that is 20 by 12 feet, which is about 4K resolution or larger, you're going to want to start thinking about a beefier server system, something like a 4U server rack-mounted system with an AMD Threadripper as the CPU powering that. You're going to want that overhead on the different threads on that CPU. And then definitely want to think about a Quadro-based GPU for those systems. In the instance that you have multiple screens, that's the point that you want to start thinking about doing node clustering, having multiple systems. I want to be clear, as soon as you jump from a single system and start going into any type of netcode with virtual production, with node clustering and that type of stuff, it's a whole other hairball. So at that point, you want to seek professional help, and we can help with that for those folks that get to that point.